ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಹೆಂಗಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾರು?
ಆರಾಮ ನೋಡಿ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಫುಲ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಇತ್ತು ಫಾರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೈಟ್ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಇತ್ತು.
Yes. So
Yeah.
we last did a match preview, RCB LSG. That match has yet to happen. A lot has happened though outside of IPL since our last episode. We are happy to be back and happy to be restarting the IPL. But before we talk about any cricket, I think it's only right to address all the things that have happened in the last 2-3 weeks. First thing is first, cricket is just a sport. What happened on April 22nd was very, very saddening and angering for me. And obviously, I'm against those who perpetrated the attack. And we have a lot of strong opinions on things that happened from that point onwards. We'll keep a lot of that to ourselves, but I will say I love my country of origin. I love India. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. So I wanted to say something also because yes, there's much beyond cricket, but we really have to thank our Indian armed forces because that's where we are from originally. Your channel says Namma India, Namma RCB. So India is first, RCB is next, right? So we are really, really thankful to each and every Jawan and Indian armed forces for keeping us safe and then bringing back the IPL so that people can have the entertainment. Jai Hind.
Well said. Anything else you want to add to that, Deepak?
Nothing much. Pretty much just second all of what you guys said. Jai Hind.
Well said, brother. Now let's move on to some other news, also saddening in a way, and that is Mr. Virat and his retirement. That is a surprise for a lot of us. He has accomplished so much. He deserves a whole episode just for that, which we will get to as part of the England Test Series preview. And I know that's why we're all in white, because that's what Chinnaswamy has planned tomorrow. So we love you, Virat, and congratulations on outstanding, doesn't do it justice, exemplary Test career. And we hope to see many, 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 many more one-day matches from you and IPL matches. I personally never want to see you retire. So I'm just going to enjoy what's left. Congrats on an amazing Test career.
Yeah. I think Test cricket is never going to be the same for the next many years. That's a fact. And then for Indian Test cricket, he has done a lot. I think he's the highest winning percentage captain. So passion and really dedication to Test cricket. So it'll definitely be missed in Test cricket. Yeah.
Yep, no, 100% agreed. I think it's obviously a phenomenal career. I think just under 10,000 runs, but overall great average, performed well everywhere, so many iconic innings, and it was always great. I mean, what I'll really remember is the mentality he had, obviously as a captain, and which created the success he had, when he was captain, along with his sort of passion for Test cricket, which I've seen in interviews talking about how it's symbolic to life in a lot of ways, and just the ups and downs, the challenges, things like that, and how it's in his mind the best form of the game. So I feel like I just have immense respect for how he feels and how passionate he was, obviously with the sport overall, but specifically that format with red ball cricket. And so he'll definitely be missed. So it's kind of coming towards the end of a generation, basically, of Indian cricket. So it's bittersweet, you could say, but end of an era, but a lot of good times were associated with it. So hats off to Virat. Yeah, hope to see him continue to do great things for RCB, and then obviously for Team India and ODIs.
Well said. All right, let's finally get to match number 58 after a long layoff. RCB hosting KKR in the IPL restart. First, we need to kind of orient ourselves. So I'm going to pull up we've never done this before actually on the show here, but I'm going to pull up the overseas update because we don't know, or we didn't know all week, where our overseas players where were they coming, were they leaving for the IPL playoff. And so before each match, I'm going to go through all 8 of our overseas players and tell you guys who's available based on the latest reports. 7 of 8 are available for tomorrow's match. Obviously, that will change for the playoffs. And 8 of 8 may be available for the next match. By some reports, Hazelwood, even in the Sydney Morning Herald, Australian news, is reporting that he is looking to return before the IPL playoffs. So other teams are in much worse shape than us in terms of the overseas player availability. These 7 are available for selection. Here's our playing 12, and it's just a draft. I don't know what's actually going to happen in terms of the team selection. So let's go through this one slot by one slot, and I have a few talking points which I think that you guys are going to agree on. Vidar picks himself. Here's the first talking point. Salt or Bethel? They're both available.
Yeah, I think the management is going to go with Salt, but Bethel is as good or maybe a better choice, but Salt is going to be the management's. So I think so.
You think he's just the first choice opener? He's just above in the pecking order.
Yeah.
Deepak?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I mean, I would. We talked about it during that layoff. That especially after that CSK match, the last match before the stoppage. Bethel, especially with the lefty righty combo, just played a lot of amazing shots. It was one match, but still. But yeah, I think still, RCB management, whether it's right or wrong, is going to choose Salt.
Okay. So let me ask you guys this hypothetically. If Bethel and Salt were available for the rest of the IPL, we know that's not the case for Bethel, but hypothetically speaking, if they're both available for the rest of the IPL, who do you think the manager would pick?
Salt.
Salt.
Well, all right. That's an easy one then. I thought that they truly value this left-right hand combination because of how much they wanted DDP in the top 3. So if Bethel's around, I wonder if they'll give him one more game and then go to Salt. I think it's worth exploring the left and right hand possibility. I think Bethel's also in form. Salt is a little cold. My vote would be for Bethel, but seems like consensus is Salt. Let's move on to number 3 then.
So the only other thing I want to point out is if there is Salt is available for playoffs, they want to maintain some consistent and give a run. So
right, but that's why I asked hypothetically if they were both available, and you guys are still saying Salt. So
no. In terms of how management feels, but I would also prefer Bethel too. I just think based on what RCB management is thinking, I think they'll go with Salt.
Okay, they want the higher ceiling guy, I suppose.
Yep.
Mayank in at number 3 to replace DDP is my pick. You guys?
Yeah. He will walk in. I don't see anybody else. He even though he has not played the IPL for a little bit, but he's kind of the experience, and I can't think of anybody. And the 3 more games before playoffs. So I think even though he just got acquired, he will walk into the team, in my opinion.
Deepak's nodding his head, so we'll move on to Partidar. Looks like he's going to play. Fingers healthy. So he's the captain. He's there. Jitesh walks in. Romario walks in. Tim David walks in. Now, I want you guys to notice 1 through 7, they're all right-handers. Every single one. I don't know if that's what they want. So I'm going to throw out that they may look at Manoj Bandage. Maybe. I think it's a big call, him over Mayank, especially at number 3s. I doubt it. But, I just don't love that 1 through 7 are all righties. Maybe they'll float Krunal up the order. Who knows? So Krunal's number 8, Yash Bhuvi, they walk in. We agree Ngidi, or because he's leaving for IPL playoffs, would you play Tushara?
If he is leaving, I would play Tushara. But again, the manager, I want somebody who is going to be there for playoffs. That's kind of my thinking. So whoever is available for playoff, of course, if Hazelwood walks in, then I would say, okay, everybody clear the red carpet, right? But other than that, if Tushara is the one who is going to stay for the playoffs, you need some continuation, and you don't want somebody to walk into one game. That's kind of my Yeah.
Deepak is going back and forth here. What do you think?
Yeah, this one I'm stuck. I mean similar also to the Saul versus Bethel debate, but I just think maybe I just know more about Ngidi, and he'd already played a match um, with us, and I don't know. And because we're still in that mix for the top two, nothing's certain with that. And I understand the point about the continuity and the chemistry and being ready for those most important matches come playoff time, but you still need that top two to increase those chances. And I think there's enough of a gap there where even though Ngidi isn't going to stay, I would slightly, I would slightly prefer him overall to be in the playing 11, at least while he's still in RCB.
I'm 100% with Deepak. Here's why, Dad. I think we're already playing playoff matches because the top two is such a big difference from eliminator track that these are like knockouts to me. If you end up in the eliminator, you add an extra match that you have to potentially win to win the IPL.
I agree.
So if you can win those matches now, then you can subtract one match later. So I think whoever is available, you play who you think is best for this match only.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yeah.
Take every match as it comes, but this match, I think Ngidi is more trustworthy. He's coming off a good match against CSK, and that match was also at home. So I think you go with Ngidi here. I don't think you try to get too cute to project to the playoffs yet.
Yeah.
Now, if we win this match, I might be more on your side where it's like, okay, we're closer to top two, and let's see who we can get into form and all that. But for this match, I would play Ngidi, and then Suyash walks in.
Yeah.
So
I'm perfectly fine of all the ones I'm okay with the analysis. The only thing I'm really, really worried about is Patidar.
me too.
Yeah.
I think, he's averaging 10 in his last 5 matches.
Yeah, well, there's also the injury aspect. Supposedly he batted in the nets for half an hour and didn't have any issues. This break kind of gave him some time to recover. He would have missed easily 2 games. So I'm hoping that he's close to back to where he belongs because we need him.
100%.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
first 5 matches, I think averaged 42. Last few matches, I think maybe 10 or something like that. He has to get back into form, and I think, like you were saying, that the break kind of helped him. Maybe that could knock out some of the rust, and obviously helped him a lot with the injury. Because I think, at least from all the reports I was seeing, he should be okay. But we'll obviously see starting tomorrow.
I'm hoping also for a mental recharge from him. I think it's a lot to be RCB captain for the first time. We've never won the cup. There's a lot of pressure. The fans are crazy. We're crazy in a good way, obviously, but that's still a lot of pressure. And so I'm hoping we see the Iceman back rather than somebody who looks a little bit burdened. All right, let's move to the KKR 12. And a lot of guesswork here. Because I don't know which of their overseas players are physically in India, physically in Bangalore. So I put in a lot of slash marks here. So we have Gurbaz or Dekak opening. I think they're going to go Gurbaz because that's who opened last match. RCB killer Sunil Narayan. Full Indian middle order. Dre Russ is in India and Bangalore. He's slated to play. Ramandeep has played their most recent match. They're fast bowling and Varun walks in. The one that I don't know about is I think Rock Mainpal's not back in India yet. He played the last match, so I put in their 2 overseas teamers. Deepak, what stands out to you about this KKR playing 12, assuming it's somewhat close to this for tomorrow's match?
Yeah. So I think it's a good team overall. That was ascending before the stoppage, but that was put themselves at a deficit with having underachieved before then. Obviously, some changes to their team. No Stark, obviously, I think among other changes they made with their team, Shreyas Iyer. And so I would say it'll be a good measuring stick match overall for both teams, but obviously for our perspective with RCB and where they're at, just to see how we look right now. And I think this will really tell how we project going forward into the playoffs. Death bowling, theirs and RCB is the top in the IPL this year I was seeing. And so, but on the contrary, their partnerships at the top, specifically with de Kock and Noreen, and then recently Gurbaz and Noreen, are actually the lowest average this year among all teams, 19.3. So interesting team overall, good team, but I think beatable overall, if I had to say.
Dad?
Yeah, generally beatable. I think if you remember the season this year, IPL started off with KKR RCB and we came on top. So this is kind of a must-win game for them. It's also a must-win game for us to be top two. So there's a lot of stake. Yeah, I agree with Deepak. Sunil Nareen can all be a handful any day, but especially with RCB. So hopefully that's not his day tomorrow. I'm hoping for a full game. That's crucial because any curtailed game, somehow we don't do well. You saw the previous game, which was a curtailed game. So I'm hoping for a full game. The bowlers always we worry about, especially from RCB standpoint, are Sunil Nareen and Varun Chakravarti. And a given day, anybody else can be a hero. But for us, those are the two big ones.
Good segue, I think, into their openers. They have not been their best this tournament. And as you can see at the bottom here, they don't even have a 50-run opening stand all tournament. I'm sure they'll get 50-run opening stand tomorrow. But they have really struggled. Narayan actually has been okay. 22 average, 170 strike is pretty good numbers. But Gurbaz and de Kock have kind of split matches, 7 and 5. Their average is middling. Their strike rate is middling for a modern day T20 opener. So I think this is somewhere where we can make hay if we can get Noreen out. And that's a big if, because at RCB, it's just like, you know, we bowl short to him, he hooks, we bowl full to him, he hits down the ground, we bowl slow balls, he picks it. Like, no matter what we do, it feels like we can never get him out. So,
next thing you know is he's 50 of 16, 50 of 16 balls.
When he gets going, it's like every ball in the power play, four.
Yeah, exactly. I remember a specific playoff match in Sharjah when the pitch was wretched. I mean, nobody could score. But he came in and he hit 2 sixes to change the match in the middle overs. And I was just like, okay, this guy's just Brian Lara when he plays us. I mean, we cannot stop him. So any thoughts you have on this opening combination? I'm sure you guys are going to focus more on Noreen, but would you rather see Gurbaz tomorrow? Would you rather see de Kock? Are you more fearful of one or the other?
Today, I'm not fearful of anybody. There was a day when de Kock was the king, and those who played fantasy IPL knew de Kock was a sure shot that every time he scored, but he has not been that good of a nick. So I'm willing to take either one of them.
Deepak?
Yeah, same. But I think overall, if I had to pick who I'd rather face, it would be de Kock overall. I think he's just not in the same form he used to be. And Gurbaz, I think if my memory serves correctly, he had been playing decent overall the last couple of matches before the break. So I would say I'm not really scared of either one, like Uppa said. But if I had to pick, I'd rather face Quinton de Kock.
I would also want to play de Kock because I think that he's more of a chance to give us a free wicket of just like a false shot and going early. Gurbaz, I think, can dig in a little bit and get them off to some kind of start, and that's been their problem this year. They've lost quick wickets, puts too much pressure on the middle order, and I think Gurbaz can help out the middle order more than de Kock, potentially. But overall, I agree. Not really fearful of anyone of those two, but definitely fearful of Sunil Nareen. Let's move on to our second important talking point. I think this is going to make Dad really happy or sad. I don't know, actually, but this is something we spent a lot of time talking about throughout the IPL. We actually did a segment very similar to this in the LSG pre-match towards Rishabh Pant, and we just don't, truly understand why Venkatesh Iyer, who's an extremely talented player, who had an extremely brilliant season last year, is struggling so much this year. Obviously, the price tag is going to be what everybody points to: 23 cores. The pressure of the price tag weighs heavy on him. Okay, is that it? Is there something else to this? I know he's supposed to be given captaincy, and they changed their mind at the last minute and put Rahana in. Was he annoyed by that? Do you think captaincy would have made him better, these numbers? I mean, it's just a weird scenario because if you guys remember, we were like this close for him to be on our team for that much money. So what do you make of Venkatesh Iyer's struggles this season?
I think, he definitely was hoping to be the captain, and I think he's also like the other Iyer, Shreyas Iyer, who will thrive on pressure. And I'm surprised that, KKR let go their winning captain, but that's their problem. It's not our problem. But Venkatesh Iyer also kind of thrives under pressure, and then of course there's this 23 crore pressure, but obviously he was hoping to be the captain, and he's not, and he's technically all-rounder on paper, but he has become more and more of a batsman. So if you're an all-rounder, at least if you fail in one department, you can catch up with the other department. And that's not the case, because I don't think I've seen him bowl this season at all.
Yeah.
So that's an additional pressure because you can make it up with something else, which he is not able to, is the issue in my opinion.
To that point, I mean, captaincy not having it hurts because if you fail with the bat, but you're winning matches, you feel good. Like you feel like, okay, I'm captaining the side, and you have the opportunity to do that. But if you're 23 cores, you go out there, you score 5 off 7 balls, you're like, what the hell am I doing? I mean, I'm here, I'm the guy with all this money, and I can't contribute any other way. So, what do you make of this, Deepak? This is kind of your boy too, this lefty slogger.
Yeah, and I was a huge fan of him coming into this year. I thought he had been really good, especially last year. And so, yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, age like milk, but I wanted Venkatesh Iyer on RCB. I thought he would have been really good. That just left-handed batter, middle order bopper, great power, can play a bunch of different kinds of shots, and really thrived last year. But it's just, I'm not sure what's happened. I think a lot of what you described, maybe it's weighing on him, both the money and not being captain. But I think overall he's just been much more of a disappointment, even with those two factors. Where I don't know if it should weigh on him that much, but I guess it is. And so I'm not really sure why that's the case, but obviously, hopefully, it continues tomorrow. Fingers crossed.
Let's get to our last matchup analysis topic here, and that is one that I found the most interesting actually, because last year the KKR fast bowling was feared, and it was one of the strengths of their team. It was the main reason they won the final last year. Mitchell Starc tearing through SRH's top order. And this year, it's just not been the case. If you look at their 3 main seamers this year, Vaibhav and Harshit have played every match but one for Vaibhav. They're going at 10, which is up 1 full run for both of them last year, which doesn't seem like a lot, but over the course of all of the overs that they bowled, that's a significant difference. They're taking wickets, but they're taking wickets in the death when the batsmen are going after them. And up front and middle overs, they're not really containing at all. They're letting teams get out to like crazy starts, letting them score through the middle. And they've taken a lot of punishment. Dre Russ has been kind of their wild card bowler over the years. He's going at 11. He was only going at 10 last year. He's almost up a whole run and a half in economy. So, if you put 4, 4, and 2 overs, Vaibhav, Harshit, and Dre Russ every match, that's 100 runs that they're going up for in terms of economy. And that puts so much pressure on their spinners and their 6th bowler, whoever it is. So, why is this the case? Is this Shreyas Iyer's captaincy? Is this Gautam Gambhir not being the coach anymore? Is it just they've been figured out? What is it?
I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of their giving a lot more runs and then only taking wickets in the death. It is putting a lot of pressure on Sunil and Varun, who would have excelled. You have seen even Varun Chakravarti of all the bowlers struggle in some of the games, which I was like, what the hell is going on? But Mitchell Stark loss is big. The rest of the bowlers who are mentioned here are good, but if the pitch is tomorrow helpful for fast bowling, like grassy, then these guys might have some advantage. If it's a flat wicket, hopefully they don't spring any surprises. But other than that, Harshit can be a handful at times. He's an intelligent bowler, but he has not been up to par either. So Dre is definitely knocked off. He was the go-to guy for the death bowling, and we haven't seen much of him either. So I'm happy with what they're doing, but I'm hope they'll continue this for one more game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, pretty much. I mean, yeah, I think it's part of what's happened is that at least with their fast bowling, everyone's had to step up their game without having Hazelwood, Stark, where their number 2, number 3, number 4 bowlers have to all move up. And I'm not sure. Well, I think, Harshit is solid. Same with Vaibhav, and Russell has been for a while. I think they're now in new heightened roles overall that they're not accustomed to, and I think that sort of domino effect is affecting them, and then that domino effect is also affecting, Chakravarti and Nareen in the middle overs with spin. So I just think they don't have that ace bowler that they had, which helped them win the title, which is a huge reason, like we talked about with Stark, and I think that's had a detrimental effect on the attack as a whole.
That's actually a great point because they don't really have a new ball bowler. These guys are all Vaibhav, you can argue, has some stuff with the new ball, but Mitchell Stark was that guy. He's the linchpin, wickets up front. And if you get 2 wickets up front, everything becomes easier for the rest of the innings. Here, I think this year what we're seeing is teams are getting away against Harshit and Vaibhav in the first 4 overs. Then they're like 50-60 for no loss or 1 wicket down when Varun and Sunil Narayan come on and they have nothing to lose. And then they're going after the spinners also because they're in such a strong position. So I think you make a great point about Mitchell Stark and the domino effect it has on the rest of the bowling. We went through, I think, a pretty comprehensive review of both our team selection, and their team selection. And so without further ado, prediction time. It's been a while. I think how long has it been? 3 weeks break?
Yeah, close to 3 weeks.
Close to 3 weeks. Who do you have tomorrow and why, Deepak?
Yep, so I will take RCB in another thriller close match where we will bowl first, and I would say give up around 200 more or less, I would say. And then I think we'll chase it down with about 6 or 7 balls left, I would say. So I think it'll be another just close match overall, tight match, 2 relatively even teams, although RCB is better. But I just think, playing in Chinnaswamy, the 2 matches that we had won in a row, obviously in Chinnaswamy, we were both down to the wire with Rajasthan and Chennai most recently. And so I just think that trend continues. But as we've talked about with RCB at this stage, it's all about just winning games and getting that top 2. And I think we do that and continue that trend tomorrow.
So we get a break and our toss luck changes. That's what you're predicting. Dad?
Wow, Emma is very confident of winning the toss and bowling first. I personally think, yes, toss is important, but to me, a toss is not important.
Okay.
For now, at least. But in a truncated match, it'll become important. So if there's a full game, I'm RCB. It's not going to be a blowout. I don't think so. Yes, it's going to be a close game because KKR is almost like a must-win game, like we talked about. If it is a 10, 12, 14 over game, then I think it is kind of tilting against us for some reason to me. The last thing we didn't talk about our bowling, and Bowie has had some struggles. I'm hoping that he will get back to his groove. So that's also I'm hoping for.
Did you make a prediction?
Full game RCB. Truncated game, not so sure.
No, but this segment is not so sure. This segment is who's gonna win.
Well, if it's a truncated game, the less number of overs, KKR. I want a full game though.
I totally get that sentiment. You know, it's kind of like a lottery when it becomes a shortened match. So if you all remember at the end of the last match preview against LSG, I went through all the matches that I predicted so far. I lost one prediction. I said we would win against Delhi Capitals at home, and we lost that match. That was a Kantara KL Rahul match. Every other match, I predicted correctly so far, and I predicted a loss against LSG before the break. This match, I have no analysis like as to why I think we're going to win, but I think we're going to win. I'm saying RCB is going to win, and my reasoning is pure vibes. I think it's going to be electric in there, even more so than a normal RCB match because of, you know, Virat and can you see that? Yeah. His test whites and you know,
and the fact that the IPL has resumed.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of ironic too that they're playing the resumption of the IPL after the break. To start the season, it was RCB KKR in Eden Gardens. Now at Chinnaswamy, it's again RCB versus KKR.
Yep.
So it's kind of ironic how that works. And I think with the key tomorrow, and I think it's been the key the whole year. I was seeing a stat where basically every match Virat goes for 50, and every match that Krunal Pandya takes a wicket, we win all those matches. And if those things don't happen, we lose. So that's to me what it comes down to.
Easy enough, bro. I think that let's just do that. So I think that the vibes are going to be like, listen, Virat is the biggest blockbuster cricketer I've ever seen in my life. Maybe yours too, Dad. I don't know. You tell me, Garrett. You've seen Vivian Richards and some other guys, but I think he has so much love that this tribute with the test whites is going to be a real thing. I do think time off makes people miss it. It certainly did for us. Overall, if you have to wait for something, it makes it more desired. And I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah.
And I think that RCB KKR is an underrated rivalry. I think that they've played a lot of intense matches. You know, this rivalry has definitely dimmed down a little bit because Gambhir's gone, Shreyas Iyer's gone. But the name still holds value. And then there's this like interesting fan rivalry between Virat Kohli and Shah Rukh Khan as like who is more popular. The Bollywood people say him, the sports people say Virat. I think it's Virat for what it's worth. So all of that adds to the KKR RCB backdrop, and purely because of vibes and my happiness that the IPL's back, RCB is going to win. There you have it. Thanks for listening to our match preview. We missed you guys. We hope that you'll rejoin us for the rest of the IPL and beyond. Let's go RCB, and we'll see you on the flip side.
RCB.
See.
Go. Get it.